administrative things we've got, I think we can just deal with as a group. They're the be it resolved thing for a schedule of regular meetings. The dates of the regular meetings are given. I hope you put those in your calendars for the next year, and that you can attend as many of those as you can. It's getting difficult to get quora. And then there's the standard notice that says how much we charge for getting a copy of all of this. And I think it's still $12 despite inflation. And it's been that since 1960 or something like that. So we're getting cheaper and cheaper every year. So what I would like to do is then to just have a roll call vote of the board approving these administrative pieces of information. Could you do that for us, Claudia?
Yes.
All those present?
Ms. Clayton? Yes. Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Floyd?
Yes.
Ms. Rockstrom?
Yes.
Ms. Suri?
Yes.
Chairman Royce?
Here.
Thank you.
Now, the last thing is our discussion in principle of the end of the year report to the mayor and council. I got one in my email just before I left home.
And I got it too.
And I think in fact it does about all we can do, but I think we should keep on bringing this issue up with mayor and council of undersized lots and the C1 and the hassle that it produces for the public. I mean, none of these people could do anything here this evening, and they believe that coming and talking to us will help. But in fact, unless we can convince mayor and council to take care of that ordinance problem, we can't do anything.
I did tweak the language about the small lots and added lot frontage, lot width, and lot depth. You can advise me if you want to. I mean, there's two options, really. We can request that they either eliminate the need to come here, which is what the...
Well, I think that that is the most sensible thing.
Okay.
If it can be done administratively, I mean, 60% of the lots in Princeton are undersized.
Yes, sir.
So if we can remove those 60% and make them a burden for you rather than us, that's good. And if there's any complication in that, you will, of course, bring it to the board for
Yes, sir.
adjudication. So it's not just us throwing it away. We're there if needed, but for a very standard approval.
The other item was the proportional FAR. I mean, you saw on the one Barsky lot, it resulted in like a 5% bump up in the size of a house that can be built on an already small lot. So that's also in there. I don't know if you want to keep it in there and then make that play again.
Keep it in there.
Okay. So we will...
Any other things we should suggest to Derek?
You know, that the review of the ordinances happen. I mean, I think at some point it's going to be a moot point, right? Like, and it's strategically easy to see what lots to pick. You pick lots in an area, you know, that's... We see the slideshow, I don't know how many times we've seen it, and there's nothing to say. You know, we go through the thing. It's like, and particularly today when we had that discussion about, you know, it's like even if you could cure 3 of the 4 variances, I mean, I think there are people who would sell their land and get rid of their little house if they could, if that was a requirement. And if the developers had to do that, right, if he had an opportunity to cure one of the variances and it required that you take the whole lot and rip the other house down, that would slow down the, you know, it would change things. So,
Well, but that then changes the entire master plan of the town if you start to, like, get rid of single lot.
it does, but I'm just saying, like, maybe that would
lots.
push, you know, some change, because it doesn't seem like anything is happening, and the problem is that it's become a comfortable situation. There's sort of like this formula, and it's not enough to destroy the neighborhood of the house, I guess, totally, even though the neighbors come and say that it is, right? It's sort of this subtle, I don't know, change, but it's a problem. And
There was an interesting comment made by one of the speakers this evening about needing in Princeton a variety of lot sizes, and I think that's true. I think the mixture of lot sizes in the town alters the way the population mixes, and it prevents, having too many elite areas and too many... I mean, I live in the Italian part of town. It used to be in the good old days. They were all
Me too.
stone mansions.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I live on the Tree Streets
But,
too, but
it's changing, and Harriet Drive has now got 4 Bosky houses on it or something like that.
yeah. I mean, I thought the points that gentleman made were very valid,
think
right?
they are.
But it's, again, it's the
But
same
we're
thing.
not the place
Does that
for it.
mean that we should listen to 10 of those cases when we sort of sit here, we have to listen to people that are frustrated?
Yeah.
I've said before, they're under the impression that they get those notices, they think they're going to come here and talk to us, and we're going to consider what they're saying. And the truth is, we can't consider it. And
Yeah.
we can't require a site plan, and Barsky can bring a site plan, and then he can build something different if he wants, because
Exactly.
he's not even held to that. So that's not even a good, I think it's nice, I agree, he should put something down that he proposes to build and share it with the neighbors. Now, of course, they would have to understand that he is in no way obligated to build that house with the site plans that he came with, and he can come with totally different plans after he comes here, or he can get his variance and come with different plans. But the suggestion was good. He comes before us all the time, so hopefully he will do that. But again, there's nothing that we can require, and it is a waste of resources and time, and more importantly, I think it frustrates people.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't understand why each and every time we're sort of explaining, the hard part is that the people that come are very interested because there's a house on their block and it's personal. Once the variance has been granted, they don't seem to then be concerned about the further issue because they're not going to council. If that's just not happening. I mean, if we had the number of people, I've been to a ton of council meetings, if we had the number of people that are coming here to see us,
Talking in the council.
coming, even one set of them, going down to a council meeting, signing up on the paper and talking, that would be helpful. But they want to come here, they come here. So some of it is there's
It's just a notice they get. They get a notice.
well, that,
they get here.
and I did mention that the notice, to the powers that be, that the notice is confusing because it conveys to the person receiving it that you're being noticed, please come down, bring your comments, and we'll listen to you.
Exactly right.
Can we email everybody who spoke tonight? I mean, I guess we don't have that email information. That the next town council meeting is on Monday, for example. But I guess that's just...
I mean, you could change the notice.
I wanted to ask one thing, so I just changed it a tiny bit. Where is the proportional FAR in this memo? I don't see that here.
I think it's at the bottom of the, no?
I didn't get, when did that come out, that memo?
Which one?
The mayor's end of the year report.
It was sent by email today.
No, I'm sorry, there must have been, I changed the document, I saved the wrong one, but I did put proportional FAR in there again intentionally, and I'm sorry it's not on this.
So you're
one today.
saying get rid of the idea of proportional FAR or keep it?
Get rid of it, but that's obviously something I'll put it in next month's report, and we can talk about it then. I'm sorry I wasn't in this report.
Okay. I was going to say one,
Why
sorry.
don't you do the following? Put together sometime before our next meeting the document that we would like to send to the mayor and council. Maybe circulate it to all of us and give us 2 or 3 days to get comments back to you, and then so that we come to the meeting next time with that modified, corrected, or whatever you want to call it, notice of what we will send to the mayor.
I'll get it
Part
out
of it
this
is
week.
just busy work, which
I just
is
have a
telling
question,
them
too.
what we went through this year, but the things that we think are important, I think we need to make those as strong punchlines.
Yeah, I apologize.
Get them to take notice.
I took out the prevailing front yard because that is up for adoption on the 19th, and I did add the proportional FAR, but I must have copied the wrong document. I apologize. I'll have it out to you by tomorrow. So.
The other, what I wanted to point out was, I believe the first meeting of the neighborhood zoning initiative, there was a great deal of attendance at that meeting, and the question was squarely put to the consulting planner about the issue of the exemption of single-family homes and site plan. And it was put to the planner. He said, well, I recognize that, but, there may be things that still can be done. And the impression I had was that that was still a concept being, what shall we say, developed. And whatever, I think the planner was calling it form-based zoning, but, so I believe that that's still being looked at in terms of what could you do either. And then the planner put out different by neighborhood, by zoning district, that there were many approaches. But that was squarely raised by the people there that night. And the answer back was, well, that is the state law. That is, the ordinance also follows municipal land use law. Site plan, not required.
So with respect to the notice, there must be, right, there's requirements of how the notice needs to be written and who it needs to be mailed to, a minimum set of requirements of what
Yes.
you need to provide.
Yes.
Does it allow for us to include a note that says, P.S., you're going to come and we'll hear you, but where you really need to go is to count, or something? What about something that explains the quasi-judicial nature of the board and what it is we are empowered to do? Because these people are coming here and they just don't understand. I mean, actually, today I think the second group got it when we did the Barsky House, and we basically said the nice gentleman came up and he was incredibly frustrated, and we said, there's nothing we can do. I think this group kind of got it. But we did have another group here previously, and boy, they just didn't get it. And you saw that email. I don't know if you saw that email exchange between someone that had attended that meeting, and they still didn't get it. And then I had to, say, re-explain, and then later on I got a nice email from that person, and they got it. But, there needs to be some education.
Well, my answer would be this. I think at any meeting where there has been a number of people coming out to pose an application or to question it, there has been education given to them. I don't know of any basis on which you would tell applicants to put in a notice to those who receive it, don't bother to come.
No, I'm not saying that. I don't think it's don't bother to come. I think the issue is the expectation. Someone enters the room and is assuming something, and if there was the ability to understand, of course we still want them to come and express themselves. I think that's healthy and important, but it's disappointing when they come and they don't understand. They stayed here for however long they stayed here, and I'm just saying, it doesn't have to go in the notice. What about could we discuss it with council? Could we suggest that, I don't know, I can't write a letter to the editor, right?
That's why we're
Isn't this part of the reason we're asking for it to become an administrative approval? Because there really isn't anything that we can do about it here, and therefore, if it's something that can be taken care of in Derek's office administratively...
Yes, but I mean, when you say there's nothing you can do about it, applicants come before this board for whatever variance they need. In this case, they don't need a variance for the house, unless the applicant says to you, by the way, I got an undersized lot. It was created before the zoning. If you tell me I can't tear down this house and build something else, what am I supposed to do with the lot? All right. I believe, and that unfortunately is something that has to happen through continuous discussions with people who come. These applicants are not asking for a variance for the house. They're building a complying house, unless they indicate to you, oh, by the way, I can't do that. I need variances for setback to height. I need variances for FAR. I need variances for coverage. So, in terms of, the minimal information that needs to be in it, these notices indicate, I need a variance for lot area. I understand. If I lived on the street, I'd come too. And I'd say, I'd like to understand what you're doing. That, right now, is simply the process that's going to have to be followed if the ordinances are changed to create some other requirements with respect to style, design, whatever these consulting planners come up with, because many other towns have the same concerns and issues. In some towns, the concern is everybody wants big houses. They don't want anybody to build a small house. They want big houses. So each town has its own issues, but in terms of education, I think your point was well taken. Even if we had informational, suppose we had a meeting where all we did was, because it's being broadcast, talked about, here's the process, here's what's involved. People may watch it, or yes it is, as you noted, perhaps people are interested when it involves their street. Once that's done, do they want to sit through and watch some presentation by the zoning board about, here are the standards? No, they don't. They came out tonight.
Zoning board doesn't want to.
Yeah, I mean, you heard from one neighbor, well, they didn't have time to come and look at whatever was part of the application. They got the notice. You know, this is what the law requires. This is what's in the municipal land use law. There's minimum requirements. If people don't have time to come look at it, the applicants complied. They provided it. The office is open 9 to 5 every day. You can come and look at it. Beyond that, without changes to the ordinance, and honestly, given the state law, I don't know how you could change it to say site plan is required, but...
And again, if it was required, but then if you didn't hold the person to it, it just, so you'd have to come with a site plan, but then are you bound by the site plan that you bring?
But I think that we're getting ahead of ourselves with the site plan, because all they're asking for is that the lot is non-conforming.
That's correct.
They're not at the point of getting a site plan. I mean, Jason Navarski said that tonight. He's not even at the point. He doesn't even have an engineering plan. So he can show you. I mean, you can go around town and you can tell what house he's going to put on that lot. He's already built it 10 times. But I mean, I guess that's what I'm saying. I mean, I think that at a certain point, the whole lot size and lot frontage, that's not going to change. Unless they're going to buy property from somebody else, but in most cases they can't buy property from someone else without further creating further nonconformity for the neighbor. So in that situation, which we saw 3 times tonight, I don't see why that can't be an administrative approval, because that's not going to change, because that's part of the whole master plan of the town and the way the lots are already set up. Certainly, once you get into the house design and the location of the house on the lot and the bulk regulations for that house, sure, whatever they're going to come up with this zoning initiative in terms of creating an architectural review board or design guidelines or something like that, well, that's the stage where that comes up, but not at the stage where we're talking about a non-conforming lot. So I think it gets very confusing, and I agree that people don't understand that there's a difference in what we're talking about here. But I truly believe that these non-conforming lot situations, lot area, lot frontage, lot width, lot depth, I see no reason why those could not be administrative approvals. And then once they come back to us and say, the lot's so small we can't build a house that conforms to the bulk ordinances, then of course everybody can come. I mean, then I think it's actually more satisfying.
I had one other question. So when they acquire the property and it's a non-conforming lot, right, there's already a footprint of what they cannot go beyond, right? Like they can't...
Well, there's a building envelope based on the setbacks.
Right, but that was something that, okay, no one knows what the site plan is. You don't know how high it is. You don't know whether the garage is going in the front or the back.
They do submit
When you buy a lot,
zoning chart that every client tonight submitted a zoning chart. I'll meet the setbacks, I'll meet the height, I will meet the FAR, they meet the impervious coverage, they have their zoning legend on there, so...
But I'm saying, so this neighbor, what she didn't get a site plan, but as soon as she heard that he could tell her how far to the right, how far to the left, how front, what the setbacks were, she at least knew what the, right? I mean, you do get that. You're not going to get that. I don't think people even understand that. No one's going to build beyond the borders. They can build up. Who knows where they're going to put the garage, but they are limited. They don't get, just because they get the variance doesn't mean they can do whatever they want. They're just getting the variance for that one.
It's unfortunate, but the 3 meetings that were held with the Neighborhood Character Initiative, the least attended meeting was of the public, and people were notified. There were emails that were sent out, and it was probably less than 20 people. So
I wasn't able to come to that.
Let's try and move into the 21st century. If people who get notice of a building, a variance request, also were given a website address for the particular case that was going to be heard, and they could go to that site, they could see the web, they could see other, proposed
You see the
houses.
whole application. They can just see the whole application. can't you?
Sorry?
The whole application, can't you just put it online?
Well, that's right, but it needs to be in an easy way to get it. If you've got to come to Borough Hall and find
You can do it, you're right.
upstairs,
You can
if you
do it
put it
with
on the web,
You can do it with
and
an
you
email.
notify the people
Yeah.
in the surroundings, this is the place to go. That might indeed take care of a lot of the things where people say, well, we didn't know.
Or, you know what, it is difficult. If you get a certified letter, right, and you have a job, good luck going to
never
pick it up
go
at the
and pick it
post.
up.
No, you really,
Exactly.
I mean, you could if you took the day off from work, but I could sort of see her, I mean, on one hand, yes, of course, it's important, it's your house to make time to go down there, but the hours of operation are not some that lend themselves to a working
To real
person.
people's lives.
I mean, you really have to take a day, I mean, if you have kids and doctor's appointments and other things, going down to town hall to look at a site plan
Just right.
might be too burdensome.
Let's put it on the web, together with our minutes.
Can we add that to the memo,
Sorry?
to the mayor, a gentle suggestion?
Absolutely.
That information is more readily
But what type of
available.
information? I guess the town will have to pay for it. The town will have to do it.
Okay, can I just say something though?
For the website.
Everybody
I
in
understand, but who
this
stands
town
it?
has setbacks on their lot. Everybody, I mean, this is public information. You can go already on the website. You can go to your zone, you can look up what the setbacks are, you can see this stuff. I mean, maybe it's, you have to look for it, but
The zone. What they really want to see is what they went and rushed to the back of the room with, which was a
little
site
dashes,
plan
that's what
with
they
a
want to
building
see.
on it. And
But
they'd like
that's
to
what I'm
develop
saying,
it.
but you can see that. I mean,
That's something simple to put on the web.
I think we definitely have to educate the public who come in here because they just simply are so unfamiliar with the terminology
They,
and really with what is
Well,
at
that's why
stake
pictures are
in the
very
evening.
important.
I don't think that the entire application belongs on the web for their use. I think it has to be filtered.
it has to be the
But
whole thing.
really, drawings might be good. Also, a
it-
list of definitions, but, that opens up a Pandora's box, and we don't want to have lawsuits, with developers
But
who...
I would just like to,
lawyers-
I speak to most of the people before they come to the meeting, and I have the same conversation that you have with the people that come to the meeting. They don't want to listen to what we're saying.
They don't want to what?
They don't want to listen to what they're saying because it's not what they want to hear.
Yeah.
That is it, part of it.
Yeah.
But again,
I mean, I talk to him, Jack talks to him, the counter, it's just, this month we had 4 small lot applications, and most of these people came in, and we said the same thing. Talk to council, we really can't do anything, our hands are tied. You can't tell someone that they have to build a smaller house if the neighbor has the same exact size lot and they can build an addition as of right without any review by the board. It's capricious and arbitrary. You can't do it. I mean, it's, we've been talking for 4 years that this is something that council has to look at, and they're looking at it. They've hired a consultant, and we'll just have to see where that process goes and how it leads us. But, I mean, I can see about getting the documents online, but it's not as easy as just saying put them online. We have to copy 2x3, 3x4 sheets, and we have to do the whole thing. That's staff time. Who pays for that? Who pays for that service? So it's not as it's a good suggestion, and I'll see if we can be done, but,
Or maybe publish the schedule of the next consultant meetings so that people, I mean,
A waste of time.
the consultant meetings?
Yeah, I don't think the consultants know beans from bacon.
Oh, okay, I didn't get to go to.
Let us adjourn and go home and
Yes,
have a
yes,
beer.
yes, thank you.
Stroke the cat. I shall get